This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Design an amazing website today. If you want head exploding, shark eating, dick swinging fun in the jungle, then The Suicide Squad might just be the ticket. Well, most of it anyway. The Suicide Squad, not to be confused with the Suicide Squad, is James Gunn's latest superhero film. The term superhero film just doesn't seem to cut it these days. So many different types of films now fall under the superhero banner. The same people that like Deadpool might not like Joker. A fan who's waiting to see if Iron Man and Captain America are ever going to get to first base might be a bit confused watching The Boys. And anyone that likes good movies might hate Batman vs Superman. So different people are going to like and look for different types of superhero content, which means some of those people are going to be wrong.
No, you cannot joke about that.
Yeah, that's not funny.
Now my artificial robot brain leans towards silliness and schlock in my superhero films.
Good boy.
But don't get me wrong, Nolan did an amazing job bringing a serious tone to his Batman series, and Joker was a fantastic movie and one of the best films released in the last couple of years. But the cinema complex-driven, Disney-approved heroes just aren't always that interesting.
Announcing your identity on clothing help with the covert part of your job.
Clean-cut superheroes in tights and bad boy rebels hiding their homoerotic thoughts can get a little bit boring.
I was gonna ask.
I know what you're gonna say, Buck.
We can put the couch cushions on the floor like when we were kids.
Marvel's only had a few good films, and for God's sake, will it ever end? But enough already. I want some silliness in my tights. The main interest I had in The Suicide Squad was that James Gunn was making it.
Who?
Super and Brightburn were both interesting, but I remember laughing when I heard they were making a film with a talking raccoon and a tree. Sounded like a fucking stupid idea. And Guardians of the Galaxy turned out to be one of the best Marvel movies. If I was going to recommend a kid get into science fiction, I'd tell him to watch Guardians of the Galaxy 1,000 times before I'd tell him to watch the Disney Star Wars movies. And even though the Squad, that's what we call it in the game, and even though Suicide Squad doesn't reach the heights of Guardians of the Galaxy for quality from start to finish, it's definitely way more fun to watch than most of the shit that Hollywood's just been churning out. And as an added bonus, I saw this movie away from my house. I got to see it at the cinema in the 8-hour window we had before lockdown hit again. Fuck! Yes, this film came out at midday, and by 8 o'clock that night we were back trapped in our homes. So I was lucky I went the first day.
This city is mine.
James has some real talent behind the camera. You just have to block out that he seems a bit of a dickhead in real life and loves saying stupid shit. Like recently when responding to Martin Scorsese's criticism of the production model for companies like Marvel and their executive control over output, which Martin believes makes their movies feel more like theme park rides. James declared that Scorsese said this out of desperation to gain attention for his movie The Irishman.
You know, he would keep coming out against Marvel, and then that's the only thing that would get him pressed for his movie. He's creating his movie in the shadow of the Marvel films. And so he uses that to get attention.
Now, I don't know what's more surprising, the fact that James Gunn is offended that a 78-year-old film master isn't loving the Marvel content, or that he thinks the guy who made Mean Streets, Taxi Driver, Raging Bull, The King of Comedy, The Last Temptation of Christ, Goodfellas, Cape Fear, and Casino, all by the time he was James Gunn's age.
He hasn't seen my movie. He doesn't know what my movie is.
The same guy that went on to make films like The Aviator, The Departed, Hugo, and The Wolf of Wall Street. And that's only naming some of his films. That's the guy James thinks is concerned with getting some attention for his movie.
I can watch his movies with no problem.
Martin's only been nominated for 14 Academy Awards and 15 BAFTAs. Spoilers are coming.
He always spoils everywhere.
At least James Gunn knows how to entertain and write good dialogue, which can be outright funny to meaningful. He knows how to build a character you'll care about in a very short amount of time.
No, Groot. You can't. You'll die.
James Gunn thankfully also doesn't mind going for that hard rating, which allows for some wonderful visual gags. So we start The Suicide Squad with a great cold opening that's very enjoyable. A cold opening that I was the perfect audience for because I had managed to avoid every trailer for this film. I had no idea who was going to be the main characters joining the squad. So when I saw Pete Davidson's face tear apart, I was very happy. I thought I was going to have to spend 2 hours with that fuck. The whole opening from the Weasel drowning, TDK slapping people, through to Savant's head exploding was a fun bloody gore fest. And Viola Davis gives us the best villain the DCEU has ever had. Her performance as Amanda Weller is great. When she doesn't flinch at Bloodsport's threat, you believe it. And when one of her staff smack her across the back of the head, it's done without any empty girl power fanfare bullshit. Now that's how you do strong women. Just make them good characters.
Get on the satellite dial, you fucking dickhead!
Yes, ma'am.
Does this woman fucking age? I'm sure she's been doing movies since the 80s. I have to say, I'm very happy that virtually the whole story takes place on one small island. No globe-trotting change of location every 10 minutes. Just one island, jungle and town, and one base to get to with one large enemy. And thankfully no intergalactic, interdimensional supercomputer villain. And yes, I know the big pink starfish is from outer space, but now he's earthbound. The whole film had a bit of a nice 80s feel. And the team we do end up with after seeing the decoy team getting blasted off the beach are very entertaining. And none of them are called Batman or Iron Man, because I never need to see them in a film ever again. And I'm very happy to have characters that I know absolutely nothing about.
Hey, Polka Dot Man, I was hoping you'd entertain my kid's birthday party. You fucking pussy!
Idris Elba is watchable in anything. Well, unless it's a role where his junk has been removed. And Bloodsport is a cool character with a bitchin' helmet that I'm quite jealous of. Can't quite say the same for John Cena as Peacemaker, and I'm not talking about his helmet.
It's a beacon of freedom.
A quick little break to talk about today's sponsor, Squarespace. If you want to make a statement, use a square. If you want to get in front of eyeballs, use Squarespace. The #1 way to make your mark and build a business. Squarespace will give you the ultimate freedom to express yourself, create a community, and grow your business to make some of that sweet, sweet cashola. With an easy-to-manage, amazing-looking website, Squarespace is the only website builder for creatives and business owners that are taking it seriously and want to look fantastic. Start by choosing a professionally designed template, then bring it to life with photo galleries, portfolios, and even video backgrounds to show off everything you do. You can even monetize your own content on your own website, which is the future for us all. Squarespace also provide marketing tools to help you grow your social media presence. So yes, you could say they virtually take care of everything. Go to squarespace.com to start your free trial, and when you are ready to take off, go to squarespace.com/robothead and you will receive a full 10% off your first purchase. See the link below. Don't put it off any longer. Go visit Squarespace today.
It's a beacon of freedom.
No, besides the fact that he can be absolutely pathetic in real life, which he's part of Hollywood, so why are we surprised? If you don't know, he bowed down to China in a groveling apology for calling Taiwan of all things a country. It is a country.
You fucking dickhead!
对不起，对不起，我很抱歉。I don't know if you guys can see it from your position, but right now John Cena is all.
He just doesn't have the same appeal as his fellow wrestler turned star. He's the Rock with all the charm, charisma, and talent removed. Now, he doesn't wreck the movie for me, and in some scenes he's quite good, but someone with better comedic timing and acting ability would have worked a lot better. He's lucky that when he just stands there, I just can do all the heavy lifting in the scene. And he is worse when he just sits there. His physical comedy is great. Those years just beating guys in the ring really paid off.
I beg your pardon?
But his line delivery, fuck, that can really struggle at times.
He's obviously lying.
Ratcatcher 2's a good character, and I liked her backstory with her dad. And somehow James Gunn pulls off another character like Groot and King Shark. He's not quite as good as Groot, but he's a lot better than Killer Croc.
I live underground. Y'all are just tourists.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
And then we have Polka Dot Man, who provides two of my favourite scenes in the whole movie. See, Polka Dot Man has a certain problem with his mum, a mum who created him, in a process that has left him wanting to, shall we say, fucking murder the bitch. In a very funny scene when someone asks where she is, and he says everywhere, you get a wonderful shot of his mother as every member of the team, which is glorious. Another scene that I really enjoyed, because I do like the bizarre, is when the team visits a gentleman's club looking for the thinker, and they have a few drinks and start dancing. Polka Dot Man looks to be finding some real happiness. He looks like he's finally ready to let go. The only problem is, Mum's going along for the ride with him. I like that scene so much. Then we have Melbourne's own Margot playing Harley Quinn. Now, I've never really got on board with the whole Harley Quinn love, and I've never enjoyed Margot's performance as her. And who calls a kid Margot? I've never understood Harley Quinn's powers. I don't even know if she's got powers or she's just good at fighting, but I have to say, her character in this film is very enjoyable, and her whole escape scene from being chained up is great. Now, I'm never, ever, ever going to enjoy that accent she uses.
I got it.
But when she's not talking, she's very enjoyable to watch. And for once, she looks like she actually has skills. James Gunn direction is the more old school fun than the modern trend of constantly trying to trick the audience or pull the rug out from under the audience in a sad attempt at hiding a bad story.
I'm the spy.
James Gunn is confident enough to give you enough information and setup to get you excited for what is about to happen without wrecking what is about to happen. We know Harley Quinn's about to do something to escape her captors. It's how she does it is what makes it entertaining. It's also why Peacemaker's betrayal is a nice surprise and not a stupid one.
What? You?
Peacemaker's betrayal, what he sees as the higher good, is also foreshadowed and consistent with his character.
I cherish peace with all my heart. I don't care how many men, women, and children I need to kill to get it.
It's as if James Gunn thought about the story before he started shooting the film.
I knew it!
You know, young Margot was on Australian TV every night for years, and no one gave a shit. Surprised us all when she turned up legs spread opposite DiCaprio.
I think you might got me confused.
American goddamn astronauts! Yankee fucking doodle dandies!
Peter Capaldi playing the Thinker was a nice surprise, and he steals every scene he's in. He brings this lovely mixture of Doctor Who and Carry On, which, if every villain in every movie did that combination, I'd be very happy. He knows how to deliver a line with that lovely British seediness.
Do you want a dozen angry rodents crawling up your ass?
My handsome man will be what you expect.
And when Peacemaker helps him with the eye scanner, again it brought out a real laugh, which is so fucking rare these days. So, for the most part, the choice of characters and the actors cast are excellent, which shouldn't be a surprise. James is very good at picking the right person for the job. He knew this guy could be Star-Lord. Now, it should go without saying that this story is not perfect, but really, pink starfish, talking shark, what did you think we were going to get here? Of course, the story's going to ask you to jump in and enjoy the ride. So I'm not that concerned that I have no idea how they were going to wipe out the USA with a big starfish, or how they were going to control the big starfish. The Thinker's declaration that he is the only one who can control him doesn't seem to be quite true.
And there's no one but me capable of controlling it.
Maybe at the time he was just trying to stay alive, but there doesn't seem to be any way to control this thing. So how you'd aim it at one country would be interesting, and it looks far from indestructible. I'm sure the US would have a field day blowing the shit out of that thing. But keeping the story simple and having the film focus on characters over bloated, convoluted story is such a relief. One main objective and one twist in the story. It's like going back to hot chocolate and cookies after years of bourbon and speed. It made me feel good. If I could change one thing, it would be the look of the monster in the final act. I know a lot of people are very happy to see
Stato the Conqueror
on the big screen, because I'm guessing you probably thought that was never going to happen.
Check me out now, mother...
But his cute appearance, even though I thought it was very cool at the start with its retro horror feel, did start to wear a little thin for me by the end. It kept distracting me from the action. I would have preferred if Stato came out looking a bit more weathered after being in captivity for so long. Maybe when he escaped the tank, he should have got a bit scarred up and bloodied. Anything that made him look a bit more sinister and scary.
We've got a freaking kaiju up in this shit!
The little ones could have stayed like that, but the big boy should have looked like a bit more of a bastard. But I suppose you have to give it to James Gunn to have the balls to stick with the Yo Gabba Gabba look right to the end of the movie. But for me, it was like a joke that just stayed that little bit too long. So by no stretch of the imagination is this film perfect, and James Gunn doesn't even hit the heights of some of his other movies like Guardians of the Galaxy, nor does it hit the heights of other R-rated superhero films like Deadpool. It also doesn't have any surprises to match the boys, but I think James Gunn mostly delivered on what he set out to do, give us laughs, blood and gore. And after the never-ending downward spiral of the Marvel films and the ugly bleak DC universe, courtesy of Zack Snyder, I'm more than happy to watch a fun, bright, stupid film that has dick jokes and heads exploding.